And I'd like to recognize Mr. Gregory Meeks of New York for the next round of 5 minutes. Thank you, Gregory.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good to see you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you very much.
Let me ask this question. One of the things that I do get concerned about, and I know a lot of my colleagues, et cetera, and I are talking about the Muslim Brotherhood, et cetera. However, if in fact we seem too heavy-handed, sometimes it's like the kid, your child, you tell them don't date this person, and they date the person just to spite you at times. And I want to make sure that we don't get into that scenario. So I think that, and I have tremendous faith in the Egyptian people from what I've seen thus far. They want freedom. They want to make sure that they have democracy, which they have been denied for 30 years. That being said, what you don't want to happen is there to be a vacuum, so that someone like the Brotherhood steps up. And what concerns me is with the opposition, and I don't know who or what leaders can evolve or will evolve, because it seems as though there is they're leaderless. And when you begin these negotiations and conversations, there has to be someone that's talking. So I was just wondering whether or not I had asked this question yesterday. Who are the leaders that we can expect to emerge, and is there anything that you can tell us about them? And can the protesters achieve their goals, basically, without a leader? And so then I wanted to tie that in as quickly as I could to the fact that there was a lack of a clear leadership in the Tunisian revolution also. And how's that going? Because I'm concerned about going to Tunisia real quickly, about the assessment of the security situation there. There was some more violence this weekend, the protests, and in your view, what course of action toward holding the former regime's internal security services accountable for past abuses would be conducive to greater political openness without, contributing to greater destabilization?
Well, thank you, Congressman. I think there are, and we shouldn't underestimate, a lot of important and well-respected civil society voices in Egypt, from the NGOs, from the legal profession, and the like, who may well form a part of a future Egyptian government. I think it's both difficult to predict and not our role to sort of anoint individuals to be the ones. But I do think that that's why we've so much focused on urging the Egyptian government to create a process to allow these voices to come together, the Wise Men's Group that's meeting, and others, which do include a variety of well-respected voices in the society, but also to make sure that the younger people who are on the streets also have a chance to express their views and to have those perspectives heard. I think there's the nature of democratic processes is not to try to pre-select the leaders, but to establish some institutions and processes that then will allow for a good, free and fair competition, elections where individuals will stand for election and the Egyptian people will pick. And I think we have a real belief that process can take place, and that what needs to happen now is to take the institutional decisions to repeal the emergency law, to take the steps to allow for parties to register, for there to be a full debate, and to have an election, and to have those very important voices that are being heard throughout Egyptian society now have a chance to put their views forward and their candidacy. On Tunisia, I would just say that we do think accountability is very important. Different societies have different ways of doing it, and different conflict situations that's been done, but I think it's something that the interim government is focusing on, is to establish an approach to accountability and understanding both of what happened during the past regime and during the transition, and we would certainly support that.
Well, are we dealing with Tunisia again? Is the administration reviewing Tunisia's aid package, which is currently focused on military assistance, and is it more assistance needed by Tunisia for democratic institutional building? Has Tunisia's new government requested technical assistance from the United States for the purpose of supporting the reform agenda? And will the continuation of military assistance programs be contingent upon human rights benchmarks or other benchmarks?
Well, clearly on the last, we are under a mandate from you to make sure that it does. And so that would be an important part of what we do. More broadly, we have been engaged in conversations with the interim government in terms of how we can support and help that transition. And I think that's, as I say, part of the flexibility and adaptability that we're trying to show now is to look for opportunities to support that process going forward.
And finally, let me just ask, What level of electoral success would you anticipate from the Tunisian Islamic groups if they're allowed to compete in the national elections that they have promised within the next 6 months?
Again, Congressman, I think we have a basic principle that guides us, which is that we will support and encourage governments that meet the basic tests of tolerance, inclusiveness, and openness. And rather than trying to prejudge what these groups will do, we will judge them by their deeds.